ADRIAN author platform and my off-season show, Chronicles. The show on this channel that focuses on my author career, my process as a writer, and my work in progress, Mythic Shadow of the Spark. Today we'll be talking about how freaking weird writers are. I'm going to actually keep this episode on the short side because I'm a little under the weather. It's the beginning stages. I feel it coming on and I know it's going to kind of put me on my ass. So I wanted to get this done with before I'm not able to. So I apologize if the episode is a little on the short side today. If this is your first time with us, or if you come often but haven't taken that big step yet, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell so you get a notification when I post a video or go on a live stream. Taking these actions help the channel to reach more people and to grow its audience. For those of you used to seeing Livestream Sunday in this spot, it is currently on hiatus between seasons, but rest assured it will return in a few weeks. Keep coming back to this spot or to my Instagram to stay alerted on the goings-on of my author platform in general. We also have a Facebook group, not to mention the website, newsletter, podcast, and more. So links can be found in the downstairs section. Lastly, I'd like to apologize for not putting out an episode of the podcast last week. I encountered some technical difficulties when recording time came around, and though I fixed the issue, it wasn't in time to save the recording session. So I'll record a new episode and have it up next week in its usual spot. Thank you for understanding. I appreciate it. That gets us to today's jam, the AuthorTube Writers Are Weird tag. Let's get it. Number 1, do you have bizarre internet searches? And if so, what's the weirdest one? I've looked up a lot of weird stuff. Some of it standard writing fodder, like how long before a dead body starts to stink, that sort of thing. I like knowing all the medical and science-y stuff possible, especially in murder mysteries and sci-fi where the readers are sure to be looking for that sort of thing and that kind of detail. Do all dead bodies empty their bowels, and how soon after dying does it happen? You know, these are the questions that are vital. But I suppose the weirdest search I performed was to find out if there was a type of plastic thin enough that a certain narcotic could seep through a baggie, and if said baggie was, let's say, inside a person, for a hypothetical example, up the rectum, maybe. Could they become high and or incapacitated by the drug entering their system? That's in my search history. Sorry, Mom. Number 2, do you write people you know or dislike into your story as villains, or dumb people so you can kill them off later? I do take inspiration for new characters where I find them, and working in the industry that I do, which is hospitality, there's no shortage of dum-dums and assholes to model dum-dums and assholes after, but I don't go out of my way to put those people in my story for any cathartic reasons. However, thanks to my love of things like Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead, I consider getting killed off in a good story to be sort of a badge of honor. So I tend to put people I like and care about or even love into my stories, specifically so I can kill them off later, and in so doing award them with the highest honor that I can possibly offer. Number 3, does personal hygiene ever come second to writing? No, you nasty. Go take a shower. Don't forget to clean your belly button. Gross. Number 4, do you go on baby name websites to help name characters? Baby name websites tend to be kind of basic. I swear by a site called behindthename.com. You'll find the link in the downstairs. It's incredibly versatile. You can search by name, but also by meaning. You can search by language, by gender, and more. You may not know the name that you want to give your character, but if you can summarize your character into one word, you can search that as the meaning and come up with lots of great names that would relate to your character. And then, you know, you can even adjust spelling and things like that at that point, which I do. Number 5, do you have a list of actors that would play your characters in a movie or TV adaptation? Yes and no. I have actors I'd use as good visual representation of what my characters might look like. Migdalia reminds me a lot of Zazie Beetz. Lear is a dead ringer for a very young Antonio Banderas. But if I was going to actually cast an adaptation, I'd put a little more effort into it than that, and choose probably some more obscure actors, or maybe even, first timers. It all depends on the character. Number 6, have you ever stared at a stranger because they look like one of your characters? No, but I have scrolled past the occasional Instagram model or TikTok personality who reminds me of one or two, and that's pretty cool. Number 7, do you talk to yourself to work through scenes, and where? I often talk ideas through in the shower, or even as I'm writing, I'll ask and answer questions to myself. I read aloud when I edit, which also counts, because when I find mistakes, I usually verbally assault myself. And during the early stages of brainstorming the story, I'll even interview myself as the characters and answer questions that I'm asking myself. Writers are weird. Number 8. While writing, do you make the expressions your characters make? I don't think so, but now I'm a little self-conscious about it and will probably think about it every time I write. So thanks a latte. Number 9, do you ever practice answering interview questions in case you make it big? Of course, I practice being on Hot Ones and or Conan. Although Conan has recently ended, but he still has a podcast, so I hold out hope. And I practice winning Oscars for Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Film. I use shampoo bottles in the shower, stuff like that. Sorry for bringing up being in the shower so much, it just keeps coming up. And number 10, do you have a soundtrack and or playlist for your book or scenes from your book? When I write, I pick music that sets a mood or tone and use it to block out the rest of the world. I don't consider it a soundtrack per se, but I do plan to put together 2 playlists when my novel is complete. Films will often have both a score and a soundtrack, and I intend to do that. A score that you can listen to while you read with no lyrics that just sets the mood for what you're reading, and also a soundtrack that you can jam to in the car when you're crying about how my epilogue left you a blubbering mess on the floor. Sorry in advance. Thank you all for joining me today for this very short episode of Chronicles. Come back next week for an all-new episode. Sign up for my newsletter to hear about upcoming events, giveaways, and some new community launches that we have planned. And come back here on Thursday for an all-new episode of the Books by ADRIAN podcast. As of right now, the plan is for that episode to be a reading of my prologue. And if you know me, it won't just be a reading. Hint, hint. Stay tuned and write on, writers. We out.